A strong case can be made that today we face an inflection point across the globe.
Demography.
Aging.
The world is getting old before it can get rich.
Change is going to be unprecedented.
Climate change.
Technology is a big part of the conversation.
Technological change
Can help provide solutions.
Who's going to be the largest economies?
Geopolitical order.
Geopolitical order that's going to be very much in transition.
Similar to what we saw in the early 1900s, when cars and electricity were rapidly emerging across the planet and geopolitical tensions were high, we are in a similar moment of change.
AI, robotics, biotechnology, and other emerging technologies such as quantum are poised to be as transformational as technologies were in the past. Successful socioeconomic harnessing of a wave of emerging technologies will determine which countries rise or fall relative to their peers.
The Global Economic Scenarios Project is really about trying to determine what's the future trajectory of the global economic order architecture. How will it look?
We take historical data, demographic data, economic data, fiscal data, and try and project out what the world economy is going to look like 10, 20 years from now. We want to provide policymakers with a sense of what the world is going to look like so that they can make the right decisions, and as well for individual governments to be able to navigate the new reality that we see unfolding.
Economic productivity has intense competition between countries. There are huge inequalities and there's backlash against globalization.
We are seeing a lot of the Global South want to be more active in making the rules, from standards, from determining the kind of regulations that govern everything from artificial intelligence to quantum computing. We're just going to see a more active Global South in the geopolitical order.
In our analysis of economic growth, we find that there's no immediate challenge to the dominance of the US.
However, at the same time, it is clearly a multipolar world. And that multipolar world requires a new or renewed set of institutions and an international system that functions around this new reality. It could take many forms. It could be a reformed or renewed set of institutions. It could be something quite radical, like a transformation of the system. It could also be blocks forming around certain countries in different configurations, or it could be something that is more of a disorderly system. All of those are possible right now, and things are changing very quickly.
Not only does this analysis provide data-driven insight into the medium-term conditions for every country and region, but it also looks at the implications for the future of global economic order by way of governance and cooperation.
All good scenario planning needs to really factor in perhaps the most unlikely but high impact type scenario, which really is that black swan event.
Things like the next pandemic, the next major climate event, or major conflict will completely upend any of these economic projections or global order scenarios.
I think one of the things that we're doing differently with the CIGI work is we're connecting the economic side with the governance side. We're trying to say, okay, these are our economic projections, fiscal projections, demographic projections. But what does that mean for governance? What does that mean for international governance? What does that mean for how governments will interact with each other? What are the different scenarios for global governance? Will we see a much more fragmented order? Will we see a revival of institutions? And these will be affected by what the world looks like economically, fiscally, and demographically.